Assalamualaikum and good morning. I bid to Professor Aslan. We are from Group 3. We'll make a presentation video related to comprehensive methodology contractor selection, which is CMCS. Before I go further about our presentation, I would like to introduce our team members. The first one is Muhammad Aziz, which is myself, and then Muhammad Syarul Amin, Muhammad Nazik, Muhammad Ilham, and the last one is Afiq Nurhafizan. So, for the assignment, the project carried out is for a large-scale commercial project comprising state-of-the-art office tower and shopping mall. The project delivery is based on the design and build procurement. The cost for this project is 150 million ringgit Malaysia. Now I will pass to the other members to explain about the methodology flow chart.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to all. This is our CMCS methodology, and before we go through our methodology, I will show you the sample of methodology that we use as our reference. Next slide, please. So in this example, we can see they use a different type of flowchart of their contractor selection, and we see the next slide. In this slide, you will see how Taiwan use their flowchart to determine the best contractor. They use a MAT approach, or most advantage tendering approach, so that they can determine the best contractor using this approach. And next slide. In next slide, you will see Turkey. How Turkey use their contractor selection. They use a two-stage of contractor selection. Start from the pre-qualification, and also second stage is evaluation the contractor. But in the next slide, you will see how we combine all these reference to our CMCS system. So this is our CMCS methodology, starting from identify project specification and detail, and then if client have their own desire or order, or their specialist what they want, they can place it to the community. Then this continue to identify selection of criteria. This is where the CMCS start to be implemented, and it is divided into two process, which is determine the criteria weightage, and then we will rank the criteria based on the prioritizing or to the project, or how influence the criteria to the project. Then we will publish the procurement, also documentation that we decided to from the committee, and then we open the participation. This is allowed the newcomers of the contractor company, also the experienced company, to take part in this method, in this tendering. And also then we will receive the contractor, and we will evaluate the contractor. And thanks to the development of the technology, we now can evaluate more than hundreds of data of the contractor company. Then everyone can be take part on this tendering process. And also in evaluation, if they have the highest percentage, the contractor will be awarded to the contract. And if the cases of same highest percentage happen, then we will determine the contractor based on the close to the bid price. This is the most benefit to the client. So if contractor A have the closest to the bid price, then contractor A will be awarded for a contract. Then we see the next slide. So in this slide, you could see the criteria that we determine for this CMCS system. First, we start from safety and health, then specification and design, followed by price, managerial qualification, followed by sustainability, next financial, technology, and also lastly work experience. So in this next slide, you will see how we determine the safety and health. For me, safety and health is important for this current situation, which is involved of our life, because COVID-19 is a main problem for the construction industry nowadays. So I think I think Ilham is already.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good evening. So in this part, I'm going to talk about the safety and health, basically on the accident history rate, safety health policy, and risk assessment. So for the first one is accident history rate. So basically, how to determine the contractor's company safety performance. In this case, we want to see if the accidental history rate may hinder the progress of the project. So in this part, we are going to use the formula of total case incident rate, or we call it TCIR. In this formula, we can see that the formula is start with total number of recordable incident times 200,000 per total number of hour work by all employee. The 200,000 is a benchmark that's set by OSHA based on the 100% that work 40 hours a week for 50 week. The next one is safety and health policy. In this part, we're going to evaluate based on the general long-term and also COVID-19 policy short-term. For the general long-term, we can see that a good policy statement should at least contain a commitment of the employee that should be adhered. In this part also, the contractor need to provide the policy that will be a priority for them. For the COVID-19 policy, additional COVID-19 action plan may be needed in the light of COVID-19. So in this part, we can see that during this light of the COVID-19, we need to have a guideline on how the worker need to perform during the pandemic. So this is the example of the health safety and health policy statement, and also a safety and health policy by Marshall Construction 2016. The next one is risk assessment. In this part, a comprehensive risk assessment must revolve around identifying the potential injury that can happen during the site. Secondly, deciding on how likely is that someone that could be harmed and how seriously the risk is during the site. And lastly, the risk assessment need to have the contractor to have a control on the risk. Whenever we want to evaluate the risk assessment, the thing that we need to be considerate is communicating the potential risk. In this part, how we want to considerate the reader. Basically, to considerate the reader, we need to make sure that the risk assessment is concisable, digestible, and in accessible format. This is because if we have 400,000 of a complex, they might become a problem, because the thing is not everyone can read 400 pages. So this is example of the risk assessment page, just a simple one from the HSE and the Rainbow Education. Okay, moving on to the experience. In this part, we also evaluate on three things: past similar project, current project in hand, and honor award. For the past similar project, we can see that past similar project can determine on the success of the contractor during the current similar project. In this part, we will evaluate the contractor based on how they describing the past similar project in terms of the location, cost, size, completion date, duration, and also a brief of project description. The second one is current project in hand. In this case, if the contractor have too much workload, we can see that it also hinder the progress of the construction. In this part, we will evaluate if the contractor's work is exceeding 50 million, then there will be lesser probability for them to be awarded. The third is honor award. In this part, additional mark will be given for the contractor that have an achievement in the previous or even latest project that they handled. In this part, it's also an indicator for the client to assess the success rate in the project. Moving on to the next slide is managerial qualification. We also divide it into three parts: technical capability, professional and sub-professional, and company information. For the technical capability, we will look into three aspects of the technical capability. The first is how the contractor have an experience on handling the technical aspect of the past work. Is it the same from the similar project? The second is, do they have adequate plan and equipment? And the third is, do they have an adequate and experienced technical personnel? The second one is professional and sub-professional. In this part, evaluation will be based on how structured the organizational chart And do they have sufficient professional and sub-professional in the company? And also, what is the achievement of the employee on the certain project? Last but not least is company information. Evaluation will also be based on the information of board and director and the team of the project. Also, we will evaluate based on the information of the executed project and current project. Also, we will evaluate also on the company contact, company specialization, and the list of equipment machineries that are available. Next, I will pass to Shahrul Amin.
Alright, thank you Ilham. Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Muhammad Shahrul Amin. Right now, I will explain about the next criteria, which is design and specification. Sub-criteria for this design and specification is design evaluation and specification requirement. Okay, let me explain about design evaluation first. For design evaluation, the contractor team can provide a creative idea on design in this building, especially for the state of art. Creative design for this building, which can approve this building state of art, can get a higher mark for the scoring. However, the design must meet the client budget, which is cost of this building is 150 million. Next, contractor need to create a safe design because this safety is important, especially for the resident on that building. Like example, they can design an emergency staircase in a clearly visible place. Alright, for specification requirement, contractor need to come out with a detail of specification requirement for this building, and all building specification must meet the standard requirement for do the construction building. Okay, that's all about design and specification. Let's move to the next criteria. Alright, I will present about sustainability. Sustainable design and green building material is a sub-criteria for this sustainability. Before I go detail into the sub-criteria, I will explain about a benefit of using sustainability first. Benefit we can get from this is especially in a long term, client can save the cost, especially on electricity and water. Next, it can give a good air quality for the environment on that building, and during construction, it can help to reduce waste, especially on material. Okay, next slide. Alright, I will talk about sustainable design. On sustainable design, the contractor can do a passive design for building, like that building can face southeast. It will be able to prevent sunlight from directly entering the building, and it can reduce the ingress of sunlight from that building. Also, we can put an awning for that part will get the direct sunlight. After that, the contractor can put a greenery design for that building, like insert some garden area. Interior design also can be sustainable, like do interior design with sound transmission class higher than 45. It can reduce noise in interior area. Like example, we can put a door or a wall with higher sound transmission class. Furthermore, have rainwater harvesting in that building is one of component that can help the building to be sustainable. It can give the water use on that building efficiently. Okay, next slide. Okay, let's move to the sustainable material. For sustainable material, contractor always use this material for the project. It can give more benefit for the client in a long term. For example, uses an LED lamp for every lamp in that building. LED lamp can save the electricity, and on the same time, it can give more light than the basic lamp, which is fluorescent lamp. Contractor can use a sustainable paint, like use the paint with low volatile organic compound and low formalin. Last but not least, contractor need to use material efficiently because it can help to reduce waste material. Okay, that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Azim. Okay, for pricing criteria, we will focus on the bid prices submitted by the contractor, and the tender price for this project is 450 million ringgit Malaysia. So basically, contractors who bid a price close to the 150 million ringgit and less than 150 million ringgit will get a high mark in the scoring system. So for the next slide, please. Okay, for the financial criteria, there are 5 sub-criteria that are important in the selection of a contractor. We will focus on these 5 sub-criteria in this selection contractor. The first sub-criteria is credit facilities from bank. Credit facilities from bank is a loan given by the bank to the contractor. Contractor who have a good and a reliable track record will easily get credit facility from bank because the bank know the good record of the company and easily will give the loan to the contractor. And for the second sub-criteria is for cash in hand. For cash in hand, we will see about the capability of the contractor to use their own money first to start the work before they can claim the payment from the client. For the audited account sub-criteria, we will focus on the inspection and the verification of the contractor financial record based on the bank statement and based on the financial statement that have been given to the client. And for the next sub-criteria is bank statement. Through the bank statement, we will be able to see the behavior of the contractor in transaction and cash flow money. And for the last sub-criteria is performance bonds. Performance bond is a guarantee given by the contractor to the client before starting the work. Through the performance bond, it can ensure that the contractor complies with the requirement of the contract and can also complete the work which is quality and full. Next. Okay, for the technology criteria. Technology is considered a new and futuristic criteria in the contractor selection process, which is the increasing usage of the modern technology in the construction industry. It is considered necessary criteria in the selecting the contractor. Through this criteria, we will evaluate the contractor by 2 sub-criteria will be focused on. Next slide, please. Okay. For the first sub-criteria is building information modeling, which is BIM. BIM is described as an important technology in the construction industry. It is seen to able to improve the efficiency of project implementation and also the quality of the construction process. And for the second sub-criteria, next slide, please. Another one. Okay. For the second sub-criteria is augmented reality and virtual reality, which is AR and VR. The use of VR and AR technology in the construction industry will facilitate in construction work and it gives many benefits. Among the benefits of using this technology are give effective planning on the project, giving immersive experience for the industry player in the site, and also the accuracy of construction project data and plan. That's all from me. Thank you. I will pass it to the other member.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, now I will explain on the proposed scoring method with each weighted criterion. Our scoring system is constructed with weight criteria and extract each criterion with a few sub-criteria. As the first rank criteria, health and safety became the most prioritized criterion in this scoring system due to the consideration on health and safety, which will influence the flow and duration of the construction project. Based on the current situation, which is COVID-19, construction site has contributed numbers of positive COVID-19 cases. In this criterion, few sub-criteria become a main concern, which is safe and health policy, accident history rate and risk assessment. The allocation of 30% weightage to this criterion reflects the importance to a construction project, especially in the current situation. Under this criterion, each sub-criteria are given with the same weightage, where each of them holds this equal importance. Next, design and specification place at the top tier criterion. This is due to it will indicate the list of demand from the client on their desire towards the building. The allocation of 20% weight on this criterion indicates the importance to have a tender with a high competency of raising up this building in any condition. Under this criterion, each sub-criteria are given with same weightage where each of them holds this equal importance. Moving on to the next criterion, which is price. The price holds, this criteria is given only 15% due to the client should be ready to spend for the approximate of project price. As long it does not deviate much, it will consider as reasonable. Managerial qualification comes next, where excellent management will lead to a better construction scheduling, of course. So the allocation of 10% weightage to this criterion is due to lot of competence tenderers are available and willing to participate in this multi-million project. The sub-criteria where technical capability and professional and sub-professional hold the same weightage, which is 4%, where these sub-criteria have the equal importance. Company information holds the minor weightage, which is 2%, which this is just a basic need in submitting a tender. Next, sustainability holds 8% of overall. To build a building with implementation of sustainability requires additional of expertise and money. The allocation of weightage on this criterion is 8%, which is not able as crucial factors in evaluate tender. Applying some of the sustainability concept will do fine as long it does not exceed the approximate budget allocated by the client. Under this criterion, each sub-criteria are given with the same weightage where each of them holds the equal importance. Next slide, please. On the low tier rank criterion, financial hold 7% of weightage. Financial in most tender evaluation used to be the most important criteria in evaluation of tender. However, in this current system, financial is not considered as priority. This is due to allow a fair competition among the tender, because usually tenderer with a biggest margin in financial will win the tender. This is eligible as long they can support the cost before the claim from the client. Moreover, the contractor can gain amount of loan from the financial institution. Regarding the sub-criteria, credit facilities from bank and cash in hands hold 2% each, where these sub-criteria are important during the construction phase. Other sub-criteria gain 1% as they are not as crucial as cash in hands and credit facilities from bank. These sub-criteria are used only to foresee the tenderer past financial. On the second last rank criterion, technology holds 6%, where usage of technology will cost additional of cost in terms of money and expertise. Hence, the priority of technology is necessary, but still in the consideration in this current system, as it will contribute to the construction phase. The sub-criteria are given the same weightage due to their equal importance. Lastly, the experience hold the least weightage, which is 4%. Experience in most standard evaluation used to be top priority in weighted criteria. However, in our scoring system, experience hold least weight. This is due to experience does not indicate the capability of a tenderers in current situation due to evolution of construction industry in terms of technology and method of construction. A tenderer which can adapt in modern construction method will be prioritized. On the sub-criteria, honor award holds more than other due to this prove the achievement of the company based on their past quality work. That's all from our group. Thank you.